Today we're going to upgrade the Miyoo Mini Plus to the premium handheld it always deserved to be, taking this popular handheld to the next level by completing a metal shell swap with what I have here. What's going on today, Internet? Selfish here with Retrospect. Let's take a look. I'm really excited about this kit that I received right here from our good friends over at MechDIY. We're going to take my most carried EDC handheld of the last couple of years, the Miyoo Mini Plus, and give it a fresh new lease on life. The Miyoo Mini Plus has long been cemented as one of, if not the best vertical pocket handheld since its release as a follow-up to the Miyoo Mini. I hear you RG35XX fans, I get it. This kit here from MechDIY will give the Miyoo Mini Plus an even better build quality and feel, directly putting it up against other premium handhelds in this space today. MechDIY has no input in this video, and I've designed it to be a how-to for people interested in taking their Miyoo Mini Plus to the next level. MechDIY does supply the tools you need for this upgrade, and I will supply the links that you need down in my thingamabob. Let's get after it. Something that might be really fun here is I have no idea what is inside of this box. Now I do know it's a metal shell for the Miyoo Mini Plus, but I gave them two different options and told them to surprise me. I went with either a Legend of Zelda theme or an EVA theme. Completely different themes. One's green, one's purple. Two completely different worlds, but I thought, hey, that'd be kind of cool. They send this in a protective case, so you know that it's going to be good quality, or at least you assume that it would be good quality because it does come in a protective case. This also would give you, I guess, a more protective case to hold it in when you're done. I'll be honest, the one that comes with the Miyoo Mini Plus, or the ones you can buy for it for like $5, are probably going to be just enough. But this is a prized possession to a lot of people. I do have a Miyoo Mini Plus that I don't use often. In fact, I don't even have it in my space here that I put together a while back. This one here will trump that one for sure, and I will actually use this one. So it looks like we did get a Zelda one, which is really cool. It's funny, I was talking, I wasn't even looking down when I opened it to see what I got. The case and the buttons will be metal in this. Oh, that's pretty neat. All right, we can get this out of the way. Now, the Miyoo Mini Plus is one of the easiest handhelds to do upgrades on. This will be a fairly simple upgrade. I am going to try to walk you through the steps, just so you won't miss anything. And if you're here and just trying to figure out how to put buttons in, I'll do a pause where the button spot is and just say, hey, if you're doing buttons, just swap this and then you can reverse out of here. You don't need to keep going forward. If you're doing the whole thing, probably the trickiest thing is going to be removing the screen, which really isn't difficult in these. If you ever had the original V1 of the Miyoo Mini, sometimes they just fell out. So it's really not that bad. It is just 3M adhesive taped across the top. So we will try doing it without a blow dryer. I have had one, maybe two before where I needed to use a blow dryer, and you just heat up the strip up here on the top. Not real hot or anything like that, and it'll just fall right out, or you can push it out. Not a big deal. My guess is it probably will push out on its own, but if it doesn't, we'll use a blow dryer. I just want you to be aware that that might be something that you want to add to your toolkit. If you get stuck and you're like, I can't get the screen out, that's going to be the reason why. Similar to a Game Boy screen. So we do have this kit here, so we'll see what all comes with it. I'm going to assume we're going to be reusing the membranes for the buttons and stuff, which is fine. Oh, I haven't taken any of this out yet. I wasn't even sure what color it was. There we go. That's funny how clanky everything's loud. Wow, those look really nice. Like the buttons have all the different symbols and stuff on. The writing, I guess, from Zelda. I'm a big Zelda fan, so that was why I was like, one of these. Each one or the other. I don't really mind either way. And we have our shell, which is lightly screwed together. And then it already has our back buttons installed. These are going to be nice. These are like the better back buttons I have on my other one. So it already has those installed, and they are made of metal. They're even labeled which one they are. So that's pretty cool. And this looks really nice. So we're going to start off by opening our tools, I guess. I've been debating whether I'm going to use their tools or my own. We'll see how this goes. I do so many of these, I have tons of tools. So these are just going to be regular Phillips. And I just want to open this up first just so we can kind of see what we're working with here. It looks like there's some more 3M tape on the inside. And I don't believe these are magnetic screwdrivers, which is not a big deal. I don't even know if you'd want them around a metal shell, to be honest. We're going to find out if I bust mine out. And this is, again, one of the easiest handhelds that you can do upgrades to. I'm just dumping these screws out so I don't lose them. So we should have 4 here. They may not stay on your table as well as mine. This is magnetic, as you can see. They kind of stop bouncing. So you may want to just double check on that while you're doing it. So we have stuff to hold the battery and everything in. Oh, we're losing our battery door. Look at that. So the original Miyoo Mini has a removable battery door, which you never really need to take it out anyways. This will not have that battery door. So a little bit of difference there. Other than that, everything here pretty much looks the same. It's really loud to work with, so I apologize for the clanking. Exactly. And this is going to be Tears of the Kingdom, it looks like. So pretty cool. All right, so we'll get this out of the way. We'll keep these screws over here because that's going to be for that one. We're going to shut this one down and then we'll do the swap. I was just about to wipe the screen off because I was like, ick, look at how bad that screen is. And I was like, wait a second. I'm just going to get it all dirty anyways because I'm going to pull this apart. So kind of like we did with the other one, we do need to pull the back shell off, but we do need to take this battery out of here. You can actually just dump these out. You don't need to go through what I'm doing right now. I usually use a pliers or tweezers to get these out, but mine's been in and out enough times where it's pretty loose. If you find where it's getting stuck down there, I'm sure you could use this. Yeah, you just pry it around the edges. You'll be able to get it out, or I use the tweezers normally to do it. Pretty simple. Now we're going to have 6 screws where we only have 4 on the new shell, and that's because we don't have this battery compartment on the new one. we have all new screws, but I'll keep everything separate anyways because I may use the shell again. I do a lot of Miyoo Mini stuff. I love this handheld. So like when I have friends that are like want to get handhelds for their younger kids and stuff like that, I'll set these up for them, and we'll set up net play for them and stuff so they can do Pokemon trading and stuff like that. This is a really easy handheld to do that with. So if you are looking for something like that, this would definitely be a good way to go. All right. So there are going to be some things we can leave in here, like the back buttons and things I'm not going to need to take out, but if you do need to take them out, you would be able to do that right now. So here's our screws from this one, and we'll just put them all back in the case when we're done. But if you are doing the back buttons, this would be where you do it. You just pop these bad boys off, and all you got to do is kind of wiggle them a little bit. Or if you use a tool like this, you just don't want to break them. So they are a little fragile. So you just want to be careful and just kind of keep moving them and wiggling them until they come off. And then hopefully, you don't break them. So like this one here is pretty loose, and I should be able to keep wiggling it and get it off of here. And you just have to get it around that little lip right there. So if you are doing the back, this would be the way that you want to do it. You just have this little piece right here that you want to make sure that you get the top part out of, because that's actually what holds this in. Sometimes these come with springs in the aftermarket kits. I'm not sure what the springs are for. I've never been able to figure it out. Typically they work without the springs, so I guess I've never really needed them, but I think they're supposed to go around where these rubber things are. Again, not something I've ever run into actually needing. I know some people do put the springs in. I just have never figured out what they're actually made for. I've never seen it in a tutorial video. I looked at a bunch before I did my first one and couldn't find it, so I just winged it and it was fine. Now we are inside here, so also make sure you don't have your memory card in here. That's probably a bad idea. It doesn't really matter, I guess, on this because of the way it separates, but whatever. Only a couple things here that are going to come out. So your power button and your volume buttons are just going to drop out of here kind of on their own. So get those off to the side because they're not really hooked up by anything. And then the only thing you really need to disconnect here is your screen cable. So this here is the cable for your screen. All you do is pull that black part back there and you can disconnect it. Now if you are doing front buttons, you are still with us here. The front buttons are going to be a little bit further into this process. Now I like to use a guitar pick for this. You can use your fingers sometimes, but there's 4 little clips around the outside that actually do, right there, and there, that hold this actually together. And so all you gotta do is get past those little clips. So just give it a little bit of pressure. So even the 2 I got right there, the rest of them will come. And just kind of move it a little bit, and then you should be able to pull off the motherboard just like that. And this is your motherboard for Miyoo Mini Plus, or I guess your SoC, your system on a chip, if we want to be technical. Now you can see how the screen is hooked up back here, and you can see where the wires are running. Now, if you are going to be doing this just a button exchange, so if you just want to swap out your buttons, right here, you're just going to pull out your buttons. So here is our D-pad, and then here are our face buttons. So I am actually going to need these membranes, so I will keep those, I guess. It looks like there isn't any membranes in this kit, so I will need these membranes for the new setup, which is fine. So if you're doing that, and then you're just going to swap everything out, and you're done. And then you put it back together the way that we just took it apart, or if you keep watching, we'll obviously put it back together again. If you're doing a speaker, this speaker is actually glued in, sort of. It's got like that adhesive glue on it, or adhesive tape on it, but oh yeah, you can do it. Never mind, I grabbed the tweezers because I was gonna jump in there, but so you can just pry it right up just like that. They're not super fragile, and you can see here there's this adhesive. And then these 2 little tabs here, if you can kind of bend them up a little bit. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but I'll try to point at them for you. There's these little tabs on the speaker, so if you are doing a speaker swap, these little tabby here, they're gonna poke up a little bit more than the stock ones. This is an aftermarket speaker already. This is one of those Sony upgraded speakers, but you kind of push them up and then it'll make contact with your SoC. It just has a couple of contact points that it just needs to touch. On the side, a couple contact points it needs to touch. No big deal. Try to make sure these are clean too. That also causes interference, but the stock speakers aren't great on these, so there are some aftermarket options that work pretty well. Look at that, I pushed that one down already. It's not too fragile though, it's gonna be okay. All right, so there's the speaker. Now we do have a little vibration motor right here. You just take it out with your finger, push on it, and it pops right out. I'm hoping that there's spots for all this stuff on the new shell. I haven't looked, obviously, because I'm doing this kind of in real time here. And then last but not least, we do have, I guess I can get these out of the way, all of our buttons. Last but not least, we do have our screen. Now this is the hardest part of the whole thing. Like I said, you may need to heat it up, but it is just 3M tape that's behind the screen. So sometimes you can just push them out, and it actually pushes out from the top, not the bottom. So I'm not sure why I'm pushing there, because it actually goes underneath this lip, as you can see right here. So that's all part of the screen. It doesn't look like this one's gonna push right out. So I'm gonna grab a blow dryer real quick. And now I'm wondering if my wife has 2 hair dryers. I don't think this is the one I usually steal from her, but it should do the trick. That's what I get for not using my own tools. Alright, so you can see my pick here. I'm just going to run it right along the bottom here. What we're trying to do is separate that tape. And if you need to, add a little bit more heat while you have the pick in, but otherwise you can kind of keep chewing through it. There we go. And boom. And that's our screen. Now, she is in a bunch of like sections. If you look in here, you do have a reflective back end. You also have paper in here that helps keep some of the bleed through from coming through. So you don't really want it to separate like that, but if it does, it's not the worst thing, as long as you don't get any dust underneath it. Because if you get dust underneath it, then you're going to see it in the screen. So just if you get any dust underneath it, blow it out. You have a hairdryer right here maybe, if you have the hairdryer out. And then once it pushes it back together, it's not coming back apart. So that actually is held together pretty well. So we do want to get this glue off of here, and we might need to heat it up for this. This is the hardest part of the whole thing, is going to be getting that glue out of there. Grab my blades. Now what I'm using here is just a razor blade. It's just going to help me get a little bit closer, and then I don't have to screw around with this for so long. Okay. Now after using a razor blade, there is a little bit of glue on here. This isn't going to affect anything, but you can see there's a little residual. You don't really need to scrape it down to the metal. I probably got even closer than you needed to. You could put some rubbing alcohol on here too and pull it apart if you want. You're never going to see this though, because this is going to be behind. So this isn't going to be a big deal at all. Make sure none of that's behind the screen. Yep, so we should be good to go there. So just like when we pulled it apart, we're going to put it back together in the same order. This is going to be the first thing that we put in. Again, this screen does go underneath. Okay, so if you're looking, it actually goes like this. So you put it underneath, and then in the process, you want to put this ribbon cable down, and then you are going to drop it down like that. Not too bad. Now, it seems a little loppy, and I just wanted to make sure it fit. So what we're going to do is then we're going to pull it back up a little bit, and we are going to take off this 3M adhesive tape that's in here. I don't know where I can get the best angle so you can see this, but, and then you just pull that off. Make sure she's good to go. Make sure your cable's through. Just like that, and then give her a nice little press along the top. With that 3M, she ain't going anywhere. She's good to go. Screen's in. Pretty easy, huh? Bet you thought it was gonna be harder. Okay, so some of those things that we transferred over. So we do have our motor here and our speaker. So speaker doesn't really matter which side it goes on. So speaker here, we're just gonna put that bad boy back in there. And that tape that's already on there, if it's not holding, hit it with a hairdryer and it will hold again. But once you put the board in, it's gonna hold in place anyways. What are those two screws for, I wonder? We have two screws here we didn't have before, which would fit into this housing. So I'm guessing that's what we're doing there. So let's pull those out too over here. Let's put this back in here. We'll put our motor back in here. Just like that, and as you can see, your motors on this side over here, speakers are on that side over there, and that'll work for both of those. So we should be good to go there. It looks like we do need to use these screws for the new one because the board doesn't have the tabs on the side to hold down, so we're gonna have two screws here that are actually gonna hold the board itself down, which is great. I was wondering how we were gonna hold that down because you don't really want to use metal tabs on something like this, so good call on their part. Okay, so that's all good to go there. Then we are going to take out all of these things, and I'm not sure what this 3M tape is for, unless it's in case the back screen part doesn't hold on right. And okay, so we have our D-pad here. This does have a good central pivot on it, so that's pretty nice. And we're just going to put that bad boy right there. And then we're going to take the membrane that we had from our D-pad, and we are going to place it right over onto here. So now we have our D-pad installed. All right, so I believe that these are supposed to go in the order where blue is on top, and then green goes on the inside. You really could put these in any order you wanted to. Red goes on the outside, which is a flame, so you kind of want that to be at least directional, so it's not upside down. Hopefully I got that right just there. Yep. And then gold goes on the bottom. Now, we're just going to take this other membrane we have here, and we are going to place it right onto here. And now, these are pushing up on their buttons. This is pushing up on its buttons. Great, great work. We're going to wait here for the power and volume buttons here for just a sec. We're going to put this board in first. So the way you put this in here is you are just going to drop her right in. Now we have these two screws here that we have that they sent that are built right into the board. So we're just going to take these bad boys. Don't need to be super tight, just tight enough to hold the board together. I'd imagine that this is going to not pass the rattle test when we're done here. but that's okay. That's what happens when you do metal handhelds. You have to sacrifice a little bit. It's probably still going to be quieter than the RG28XX, which sounds like you got a box of Tic Tacs in your pocket. Going on, I might have made this one too tight. Let's try this again. I know it was in there to begin with, so I know it works. There it goes. I always just flip it over, make sure everything feels like you're actually able to hit it, which you are. I actually might pass the shake test, but it's still going to be a little loud until we get the back put on. Alright, so next you're going to do is you're just going to pop this bad boy up, this little black thing right here. You're going to pop her up, and then you are going to kind of, I always just kind of give it a little push on the top, not like any pressure or anything. It'll actually sink into that line, so see where that line is on there? It'll seat right to the line on there. I always use the pliers to make sure it's in all the way, which I believe that it is. Yep, so it should be good to go, and close that bad boy off. So that's in. So that's good. Now we are going to do our plus and minus. Plus is obviously up, minus is down, and these go right in here and in here. These always have like a notch on one side, but this, I'm not sure if it, oh yeah, it does. Okay, so notch side goes right here, I believe. So we got all those. Now we do have this battery right here that we haven't put in yet. And this was behind a battery door before. We're obviously not gonna have a door. The other thing we might wanna make sure is that these are tight. So this looks like it's extra stripping for the back of these. So if you wanted to put something on there, or if you needed to extend one of these, you could use that. And this here, I believe, is actually for the battery. And I think we're gonna put that right there. That way it keeps the battery off the board itself, and then we'll tape it in on this side. So that'll give it a little cushion, and it'll keep it off the board itself. And then when we put this in here, it's going to sit on there. It'll be fine. So you put your battery in here. So when it's plugged in, this is how it sits normally. So what we're going to do is we're going to stick it to the other side. So the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to open these up, and then I'm going to put it down on top of the battery. Because I don't think that these are exactly where it needs to be. I think it needs to be a little bit lower than that. So I'm going to put it on the battery. Turn it over. So now you can see where the battery is on here, and I just stuck it to it. If you want to still say Miyoo, you could flip the battery over so it still says Miyoo. I don't think that matters, but if it matters to you, by all means. And you want to make sure that this battery isn't hitting these buttons, which actually it is. So we need to back this off just a bit. Oh boy, that tape is strong. There we go. So we're going to put it below these switches a little bit more. And we got to put our power button back on because of course it fell off. Okay. And make sure this is plugged in, and then we'll stick her together. Now my battery's too low. Nope, maybe not. There we go. Okay, now that we got it all together, we're testing out all of our buttons, making sure everything feels good. Looks good. Make sure we have power probably before we put the last couple screws back into her. It looks like our screen's working just fine. Oh, it's because I don't have my memory card in. Ha! That's okay. I just wanted to make sure it powered up, so we will power it back down for now. Now that we're powering down, we will put the last few screws back into it. And there we go. And if we want to jump on, maybe play a little Zelda. And there we go. As easy as that. So what we are seeing here is Tears of the Kingdom, which is pretty awesome. Legend of Zelda. The beautifully finished buttons on the front and back. I'm really liking these shoulders. They are much more comfortable than the stock shoulders. They just have that same slope that my better back buttons have. So really cool. I actually gave most of my handhelds with better back buttons to my friend's kids. Should have kept those for myself maybe, but now I'm back in it. I'm kind of bummed that you can't pull the battery out, but honestly, you really never need to on this device anyway, so I haven't had that be an issue a whole lot, so I'm not real worried about it. And it's only 4 screws if I need to get to it, so not a big deal there. Just for that premium feel, I think it might be worth it. You do have holes for your LEDs on the top, and obviously your power button, which is nice and gold to match everything else. This D-pad is pretty awesome. It still feels like the Miyoo D-pad. I'm going to guess that they probably molded this off the Miyoo D-pad and then took a couple millimeters off to make sure it fit. But it fits and plays just like the Miyoo D-pad. This button is a little bit further down. The stock button actually sits up a little bit higher, but it's nice and flush, which is kind of cool. And it's not hard to hit or anything like that, so I really do like that with the symbols and stuff here on the face button. Now, if you don't know what the symbols mean, don't worry. They're actually written out here as well. So you have your A, B, Y, and X are actually engraved inside the metal. It's a little faint, but you'll see it when you see it close up. And then we do have our start and select here on the bottom. And everything feels good. Everything works. Everything feels good. I got no complaints here, really. If you don't know this software at all, I'll give you a couple hints. So like select menu will give you your full RetroArch menu. I don't believe there's anything missing on this version of RetroArch, so I think you're pretty much set to go. I did just do an update on this too. I am running a beta version of OnionOS that came out about 3 weeks ago. A little bit different version than what you're going to see out there on the normal market, but everything on here seems to work pretty well. I have no complaints so far, and we'll keep playing with it. And that's part of why I'm not doing a software showcase today, but we'll do that in the future if we need to. And I just want to give a big shout out to our friends over at Mac DIY one last time for sending over the shell so I could do the shell swap. Again, all the links are down in my thingamabob. If you want to get one of these shells, or if you want to get a Miyoo Mini or Miyoo Mini Plus, links are going to be down there in my thingamabob. And that's all I got for today. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, share this video with your friends because sharing helps grow the channel and sharing is caring. Also, if you comment down there, I reply to almost every comment. At least I try to. I try to reply to as many comments as I can almost immediately. Obviously, I don't stay on YouTube all day, but I try to respond to them as immediately as I can. So if you have any questions, leave them down in the comment section down below. And once you're done with all that, there are going to be a couple of videos here on the top of the screen that YouTube chose for you. I don't know what videos it chooses. It just chooses videos that it thinks you're going to like. So obviously you're going to like them. So go take a look at those videos, comment, rate, subscribe on those as well. I would appreciate it. And obviously I think that you're probably going to like them. And if you don't, let me know what you want to see and I'll see if I can put together a video for you. Anyways, that's all I got for today. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.